OSC investigates Trump prosecutor Jack Smith over Hatch Act allegations. Scandal or accountability? The latest move from Washington is stirring debate across the political spectrum. Federal authorities have opened a new investigation, this time focusing on former special counsel Jack Smith, the prosecutor who led high-profile cases against Donald Trump. Some see it as overdue scrutiny, others as pure political theater. But here's the twist. The probe itself raises bigger questions about law, politics, and the boundaries between them. The U.S. Office of Special Counsel, OSC, an independent federal body not to be confused with Smith's former DOJ role, is now looking into allegations that Smith may have crossed the line into unlawful political conduct. Specifically, the OSC is exploring whether Smith's actions violated the Hatch Act, a decades-old law that aims to keep government officials from using their positions for electioneering. While Trump and influential Republicans have loudly accused Smith of biased prosecution, none have yet produced clear evidence of illegal behavior, an absence that hasn't calmed the controversy. Here's what makes this process unusual. The OSC is strictly an oversight agency. It can't file or pursue criminal charges. But it does wield significant power when it comes to disciplining federal employees. If it concludes Smith violated the Hatch Act, it could recommend anything from removal from federal service to referring its findings to the Department of Justice, which, historically, very rarely pursues Hatch Act prosecutions. For example, back in 2019, the OSC called for the firing of Kellyanne Conway, a top Trump advisor, over similar allegations, but the DOJ never got involved, and Conway kept her position. The latest actions were prompted in part by Senator Tom Cotton of Arkansas, who formally requested the OSC to investigate what he calls unprecedented interference in the 2024 election by Smith. The OSC confirmed it has launched a review based on Cotton's request. Cotton, a vocal critic, claims Smith's criminal charges against Trump, brought after Smith was appointed by Attorney General Merrick Garland in late 2022, amounted to improper political meddling, pointing particularly to Smith's push for a so-called rush trial. Yet, Cotton has not made public any detailed, direct evidence that Smith broke the law, and this is the part most people miss. Are these accusations sincere concerns about fairness? Or are they more about settling political scores? Smith, for his part, indicted Trump twice before abruptly resigning just over a week prior to Trump's inauguration in January 2024, never taking either case to trial. This abrupt ending has fueled speculation from all sides. Was this a principled exit, or a signal that the cases lacked substance? That's a debate still raging in political circles. Another layer to the story involves the leadership of the OSC itself, a point likely to raise eyebrows. Trump's own nominee for the top OSC post, Paul Ingrassia, is currently facing delays in the Senate. Ingrassia, a former podcast host known for provocative remarks, has been busy in closed-door meetings with senators ahead of what's sure to be a contentious confirmation vote. All of this leaves us with tough questions that strike at the heart of government integrity and political accountability. Should the same strict standards apply to prosecutors as to political appointees? Is the OSC's investigation about justice, or is it another battlefield in America's ongoing political wars? Where do you stand on whether these kinds of inquiries are necessary oversight or thinly disguised political payback? Let us know your view, and don't be shy about disagreeing. Investigation launched into former Trump prosecutor Jack Smith for Hatch Act violations. A burning controversy ignites. An independent agency turns its lens on Jack Smith, the former special counsel who once led the intense probes into Trump's classified document handling and alleged election tampering. The Office of Special Counsel, OSC, has initiated an investigation into Smith centering on possible Hatch Act violations, a rule that restricts political activity by government personnel to preserve neutrality during elections. Smith, who played a pivotal role overseeing criminal investigations into actions taken by President Donald Trump, is now under scrutiny at a time when Trump and his allies passionately argue that investigations against him were politically motivated vendettas. For anyone new to the topic, the Hatch Act is designed to ensure that federal, state, and local employees engaged in federally funded programs do not use their positions to influence electoral outcomes or push partisan agendas. In this instance, the OSC claims that Smith's activities may have overstepped these boundaries, especially given that his public statements and court filings during a sensitive political period have sparked heated debate. But here's where it gets controversial. While some view his conduct as a necessary exercise of public accountability, others see it as a potential abuse of power that disrupts the impartiality of the investigation process. It's important to note that the OSC, although it shares a similar name with special counsels like Smith, is an entirely separate independent agency established by Congress. Currently under the temporary leadership of a Trump appointee, following the dismissal of a Biden-appointed head serving a 5-year term, the OSC is tasked with handling matters such as whistleblower retaliation and ensuring compliance with the Hatch Act. CNN has reached out to representatives for both Smith and the White House for comment as the controversy deepens. The New York Post was the first to break the story, adding that back in 2021, a report had found 13 officials from Trump's initial term, including former advisor Kellyanne Conway, to have breached the Hatch Act. Notably, the OSC had previously recommended that Conway be removed from her position. More recently, in 2023, Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre received a warning for allegedly violating the rule by using the phrase mega. During a briefing, a reminder that even minor slips in following these guidelines can draw significant attention. Despite these infractions being workplace guidelines rather than criminal offenses, with penalties ranging from a mere reprimand to job loss, the broader implications of these breaches are profound. Jack Smith, who resigned from this position at the Justice Department earlier this year after concluding inquiries into both the classified documents case and election subversion allegations following Trump's unexpected 2024 election victory, now finds his legacy entwined with political and legal controversies. His 2-year investigation was historic, marking the first time a former U.S. president faced federal criminal charges, underscoring the seismic shift happening in American political accountability. Trump and his supporters have vehemently attacked Smith's investigations, labeling them as a political weapon designed to undermine his leadership, with Trump even vowing to fire Smith if he were to reclaim the presidency. This promise flouted long-standing norms around the independence of special counsel investigations, a point that continues to divide opinion. Adding further fuel to the debate, Trump ally Senator Tom Cotton recently alleged that Smith exploited his role at the Justice Department to influence the election in favor of Biden and Vice President Kamala Harris. This claim centers on the fact that Smith filed a legal brief less than 60 days before Election Day, potentially infringing on additional department rules beyond the Hatch Act. Richard Painter, who served as the top ethics lawyer during the George W. Bush administration and now teaches law at the University of Minnesota, commented that while extraordinary caution is warranted for any public communications near an election, the ongoing court filings that had been underway since the summer of 2023 likely did not breach the Hatch Act. The specifics of the OSC's inquiry remain somewhat unclear, leaving many to wonder precisely what activities are under the microscope. Painter also expressed concerns about the OSC's independence. He pointed out that the recent shift in leadership, replacing a Biden appointee with a Trump-appointed interim head, casts doubts over the agency's impartiality. Insiders and independent watchdogs have even suggested that this once nonpartisan body has been overtaken by loyalists from the previous administration, with one former federal ethics official lamenting, "The office is a shell of its former self." This unfolding story offers plenty of room for debate. Do you think the current investigation into Jack Smith undermines the fairness of politically sensitive inquiries? Or is it a critical step in maintaining governmental neutrality? Share your perspective. Are these actions a necessary check on power, or do they merely reflect political maneuvering? The conversation is just beginning, and your opinion could be part of shaping what comes next. This report has been updated with further developments and context, incorporating insights from contributors Samantha Waldenberg, Caitlin Pollins, and Marshall Cohen.